still have a very important role with this.
KK fits so many of those.
So he pitched pretty well, actually. In the spring, he hurt his back a little bit. He came back and started the season about a week or so late. Pretty well, pitched real well for a while. He won 5 games in a row, I think. And then his back bothered him a little bit, and then his arm started bothering him a little bit. His elbow started bothering him. I think he's okay now, but he's had both of, the elbow's been kind of troublesome to him during the season, and they really couldn't count on him being able to pitch starter innings anymore. So he pitched out of the bullpen the other night and had a save.
I think for KK, the main thing was something that we're seeing a lot of pitchers deal with this season is going from 60 games in the shortened season to 162. It's a hard period to ramp up, and KK started this year on the injured list. He's had 3 separate stints, and I think it's just been trying to find the right balance of getting his body in shape and adjusting from 60 games to 162.
I think one of the things is, a couple of things. One, he was dealing with something that hurt in his elbow, and so that just kind of threw off his schedule, but also threw off his role a little bit. I mean, he went from being a starter to being a reliever to all of a sudden a starter again to then a reliever. And in there he had the back issue in spring, which cost him some time. Then the back issue again when he came back, and then the elbow soreness. So I think it just was some physical things that really kind of weren't long-term things, but they kind of had long-term ramifications in the sense that they just put him just off the schedule. So he could never really get in a rhythm. And whether he's pitching or whether he's getting ready to pitch, it became pretty clear that he's a rhythm guy. Like he likes to get, once he sets it, whether it's a schedule or on the mound, then he takes off.
I think, the Cardinals bullpen, it's very fluid, and they call in a lot of guys based on role. And the thing that I think the Cardinals really value with KK is that he's so versatile. He can pitch 1 inning with a lot of efficiency, or he can be extended to 2 or 3 if they need to. So I think the value of KK isn't determined based on the score, but what the game situation needs. Being able to pitch 3 innings in long relief, even if the score isn't greatly valuable, because it also saves other arms. Right now, I think it's just with the Cardinals being so close in a playoff race and every game mattering, finding the right guy for the right role, and KK fits so many of those.
Well, the other night now in New York, they had a 3-run lead, and they used pretty much everybody else, and they brought him in, and he allowed 2 runs, but that was, there was already a runner on second base in the extra inning, so he pitched pretty well, actually. He's sort of at the bottom of that list now, and I don't know that he'd get a lot of chances. But there's a doubleheader, for instance, next week in Chicago. I'd be surprised if he didn't appear in one of those games. He's doing something.
Yeah, well, he got a save the other day. That was an important. It was the game found him, right? But it wasn't supposed to be his role that he closed that day. But the game found him, and he got one of the biggest saves of the year. His second save and his first since like the opening of 2020. So, but important, and that's what happens when you're out there. The game finds you. Well, one is the people around him, right? Like there are guys in the bullpen who have roles who were there in the bullpen before he got there. It's not going to be somebody that, you put a new guy out there, he's not going to disrupt the roles of a guy like Giovanni Gallegos or Alex Reyes or Genesis Cabrera. These guys are good, they have had success in their roles, so you're not going to displace one of them. So it's more about carving out a new role, which he can do. We've seen guys for the Cardinals do that, and TJ McFarland from the left side, Luis Garcia from the right side. They've created roles for themselves, and that's what KK can do. And KK can have a very important role because he's able to go multiple innings, which you'll see, as you kind of like you ask, how do you explain this? I mean, one of the things is like that'll be pivotal in this stretch because it'll save the other relievers for closer games that they have to win. He could still have a very important role with this. It just won't be one that has a cool stat to describe. It won't be a save or a win. It'll be more of an assist. It'll be an assist that helps a pitcher out later. I don't know. That there's some intrigue there still yet. We don't know what the Cardinals will look like. It's likely Adam Wainwright will be back. It's likely Dakota Hudson will be back. It's likely Jack Flaherty will be back. So the rotation fills up really quick. They don't have a spot. And if they look at the guys who are free agents, right, Lester, Happ, and KK, they'll have to make a choice there if they want to bring back. It would be one of the three, not all of the three, and probably not two of the three. And they'll have to have that conversation or look at other free agents. I think, the Cardinals will want to do something different with their rotation, with that spot. And a lot of that has to do not with KK's performance, but with who they have coming back. I mean, if you have Flaherty and Hudson to add in, there's going to be somebody moving on. And he's so athletic that, it will really help a team who wants to stabilize a rotation. So yeah, there's a place for him, absolutely.
I haven't talked to him about it. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I think at one point he did, but I don't think he wants to be here if he's not going to start. I would hope that he would be back.
Maybe. I think if there's one thing the Cardinals have learned this year, it's that you can never have too much pitching. I know that there could be an extent if both parties see fit, but right now I think both KK and the Cardinals are just worried about right now and going to the playoffs and seeing how they can progress from there.
Once in a while, I think, yeah, but I think the last couple times I've seen him, he's thrown the ball better. I think his arm is better. It's hard for him, I'm sure, to do what he's doing because he pitches once every 5 or 6 days. And it's hard to keep a rhythm going that way. I feel bad for him that way because that's not what he signed on for.
I can't speak to that. I don't think so. I think each conversation I've had personally with KK, he's been very receptive of what kind of, he just wants to make sure that he can come in and help the team win and do what he can. I think that obviously he would like to start, as do many pitchers, but at this point with his 3 injuries and being more efficient in short bursts, I think it makes sense for overall to have him in a relief role for now.
The move to the bullpen, I think there was some confusion. The timing of it, but I don't think there was friction. But I think there was some confusion. It was clear that they were looking at what other option they had as a starter in Woodford, and that was communicated. The timing as to when and the day that, does he throw a bullpen as a starter or does he throw from the bullpen as a reliever? There was some question as to what that day was. So, but it seemed that I know KK takes a lot of pride in being a starter and wants to be a starter and has the skills to be a starter. And certainly, I can't say enough. Certainly has the athleticism to be a starter. But the timing of it was, it could have been a little bit clearer as to when that move was going to take place. Yeah, that's the modern game. It's very rare that the starter gets to go through a third time through. It slows the game down. But it's how teams compress games to win them. that is a different style. That's one that, but that's not just KK that comes to the majors and experiences that. That's everybody. That's all young pitchers who like in the minors are going to get to extend or are going to get to, and then they get here where the games matter in the standings and there's so much at stake, and you're going to see more teams be more aggressive with the bullpen and go 5 and out. You know, again, it's probably more dramatic this year because they're coming out of a shortened season. So the timing is just off. It wouldn't have been like this if pitchers had 160, 180, 200 innings last year, but they don't. So teams are naturally aggressive for a third time through the line, and now they're purposefully protective and trying to get the pitcher out of there before there's a chance of injury without the innings from last year. I'm good. It's been nice to get to know him, you know, and to learn a lot. It's good to learn a lot, especially during the, we didn't get to talk as much in person because of the rules. You know, when we did in spring training or, you know, later on this year, just to get to learn, you know, different styles of the game and different views of the game. And, you know, we've become more connected with the game all around the globe. And I've learned a lot in that regard, and that's been nice to do. Any chance to talk baseball, but talk global baseball is a welcome chance.
Yeah, he's gonna. I mean, look, we're in a very, very fluid situation. So, you know, unfortunately, KK's had some setbacks, so that's eliminated him from being more consistent to get in the rotation and to be able to go deeper in games. You know, he's going to pitch out of the bullpen. He was very valuable for us in New York. Got a big save over there, and you know, this time of year, you know, we have the starters that we've got, but you know, really, everybody's available at any time. So we expect him to pitch and give us opportunity to compete and win. So he's a big part of our club. As far as when he'll pitch, it'll be more based on situation. KK actually is second on our team in innings pitched. Maybe a little known fact, but it's a fact. You know, and again, the appearances and the time he's been on the mound has been based on a combination of health and other factors with the team. So he's been great. He's responded as a wonderful teammate and has been a valuable part of our club.
Thank you so much. 안녕하세요, 이영미입니다. 한국 시간으로 9월 20일 세인트루이스 부시 스타디움에서는 샌디에고 파드리스와 세인트루이스 카디널스의 시리즈 마지막 경기가 펼쳐졌습니다. 세인트루이스는 1회에만 점을 뽑아내면서 승기를 잡았는데요. 무사 만루에선 놀란 아레나도의 뜬공을 중견수인 페르난도 타티스 주니어가 놓치는 바람에 1회부터 샌디에고는 어려운 경기를 펼쳐갔습니다. 오늘 김하성 선수는 8회 초 투아웃 상황에서 8번 타자인 애덤 프레이저가 타석에 들어섰을 때 대기 타석에서 다음 타석을 준비했지만 프레이저가 외야 뜬공으로 아웃되는 바람에 다시 더그아웃으로 돌아가야 했습니다. 9회 초 샌디에고 선두 타자는 김하성 선수가 아닌 빅터 카라틴이었습니다. 아마 세인트루이스 투수가 좌투수인 카브레라에서 9회 우한 가에고스로 교체되는 바람에 샌디에고 팀글러 감독은 김하성 대신에 빅터 카라티니를 대타로 내세운 것으로 보입니다. 이날 선발이었던 샌디에고의 제이크 아리에타는 1회에 아웃카운트 1개만 잡고 3피안타 1볼넷 5실점을 기록하면서 강판당했는데요. 팀에서는 우측 내전근 통증 때문이라고 강판 이유를 알렸습니다. 이로써 샌디에고는 3연패에 빠지면서 76승 73패에 머물렀고요. 와일드카드 레이스 2위인 세인트루이스와 승차가 3.5경기로 벌어졌습니다. 세인트루이스는 내셔널리그 와일드카드 2위 자리를 굳건히 지켰고 필라델피아 필리스와는 승차를 3경기로 늘렸습니다. 세인트루이스는 이날 경기 후 곧장 밀워키 브루어스 원정지로 향했습니다. 이후 시카고 컵스 원정 시리즈를 마치면 홈에서 다시 밀워키 시카고 컵스를 만나면서 정규 시즌을 마무리합니다. 김광현 선수는 오늘도 불펜에서 대기 상태였는데요. 세인트루이스를 오랫동안 전담해온 담당 기자들과 마이클 실트 감독과의 인터뷰를 통해서 김광현 선수의 현재 상황과 향후 거치 관련해서도 의견을 들어볼 수 있었습니다. 저는 내일 템파베이로 향합니다. 템파베이에서 다시 MLB 소식으로 인사드리겠습니다. 지금까지 세인트루이스에서 이영미였습니다.